What if Josephine Baker didn't dance it out? No. Tell me where would we be now? What if Soldier and Dad told the truth? The oddity of was never printed the news. Harriet never went underground. Where would we be now? We are the ones you've been waiting for. We can change the world. We can change the world. With our love, 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 love. 'Cause it's up to us. We are the ones you've been waiting for. We can change the world. Our love can change the world. We can change the world. With our love, 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 love. Our love can change the world. Me too, I matter, you matter, we matter. Together we are love. Me too, I matter, you matter, we matter. Together we are love. It's gotta be all of us. Stand up and speak out with all of our love. Cause it's up to we are the ones we've been waiting for. We can change the world. Our love can change the world. We can change the world. With our love, 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 love. Our love can change the world. Oprah, Kamala, Ava, Tarana, Anita, Serena, Viola, Oprah, Patrice, and Alicia. You and me are the chosen. Right now, this is our moment. We are a people of motion. Our love's gonna change the world. Well, good evening, kings and queens, and welcome, Angie. We have made it. Let's go, baby. Week 5. Let's go. Happy Friday. Yes.
We did it, girl. We here. We made it.
Yeah, we made it. God is good. God is so amazingly well. We are in week 5. Week 5, Angie. 1,
Can you believe it?
2,
Can you believe it?
4, 5.
I remember when we had the conversation. Remember, it was just like, this is something that I think is good. I think we should do something like this. And then you say it, you believe it, it comes together.
Well,
and we was just talking about it. Now we on week 5. It's like,
yes,
boom.
yes. I'm so excited. And we got our queen in the house. You already know it's getting ready to be a party, right? It's getting ready to be a straight party. And
you know.
As soon as I can let her, she just keeps asking me to let there that
There
queen.
she is.
And boom, there the queen is herself. Yes, ma'am. That Queen Lonnie Grant is in the building. I'm so excited. So we're gonna go ahead and hey, queen.
Hey guys, you have another picture of Alkia. You have 2 of them. 2 queens, 2 Queen Lonnie Grant.
I don't know what's going on.
We can hear you and see you, queen. Lonnie, we can hear you and see you.
Yeah, I can hear and see you.
Okay, cool.
I'm telling you, this has been a day of Zooms. It's because I run all my classes I teach, and it's been like.
Hi, Maria Carmen Rosa.
Well, we are here, queens, and you know, we are excited. So crown check 1 2 1 2. And Lonnie, we were just talking about the fact that It's week 5, baby. We made it. Week 5. So
I mean, we did it.
it was a minute ago. Angela was talking about, Shanetta, we got to do something. We really got to get together and start speaking about mental health with everything that's going on with COVID. And was like, I said, well, Angie, how soon are we going to do this? And she said, like, now. I'm like, well, let's go.
I mean,
and here we are. Here we are. So we are now in week 5. And so for our guests that are just joining us, I'm Shanetta Malkia. I'm the founding president and executive director for Empowerment Essence. We are a nonprofit organization, faith-based organization that focuses on suicide prevention and anti-bullying for youth and young adults. And I am just excited because I was able to partner with my sister queen. My sister queen, you hear me? My sister queen, Angela C. Green of Angela C. Green Ministries. And she is here. And if you don't know, and if you haven't done it already, God is her height. So
come on, I'm saying.
Let's get it. So you're going to see the mugs. So every week we come together. Angie got some type of dope mug, whether it's a big mom mug, whether it's whatever it is, she got a mug for it. So Angie, how have you been, Queen? We took a week off last week. So we started out with our kings because we needed to address the mental health within our community with our Black kings and just our kings in general, because they need us more than ever right now. And so the first 2 weeks we spoke to our kings, and then the next 2 weeks we got in touch with our youth. And wow, did we learn some things. We truly learned some things. We had Queen K on here. So shout out real quick to our guests that we've had on here. Thank you for your time. So Jermaine Johnson, Brandon Johnson, Angela C. Green. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Queen K. And if you missed the last one, we had Miss Black Maryland, USA 2020, the new Queen Elizabeth. We set the tone. We changed it up. So, Angie, you here, baby, week 5.
I'm doing good. I mean, I'm excited. I'm amped. I'm so excited to see Lonnie. I mean, from day one, we clicked. So I'm just excited to have her on and coming together as this unstoppable warrior woman, just like team, and then also expanding in our life. You know, I'm all about living a high vote life that's an amplified, verifiable, original, legit, and true life. My mission, my message is all about, I'm not chasing paper, I'm chasing my purpose. And so, you know, God is amazing. And so when we come together, you know, on one accord and like minds, and not just that, but trauma and triumph go hand in hand. So if you're going through a situation where there is trauma, just look forward to triumph, because God don't listen. We don't lay down. We don't lay down. So we are here coming together because we want to encourage and want to empower every single woman right now. We are crown checking. Okay.
Crown check, 1, 2, 1, 2,
right,
let's go.
Because we are all survivors. We are all triumphant. You are looking at winners right here that have been in very, very dark situations. And the first thing that the enemy wants to do is to attack your mind, to make you think you ain't Nathan. But we are here to serve notice. We are here to let the public know. We are the village. We are speaking. We are letting you know that it is important that, you know, you get up. You know, you get up and you express yourself. And one last thing before I get off my mic. You ain't
going nowhere. You staying on the mic all night. Crown check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Come on. And listen, is my mic on? Hold on. So,
yes.
You know, we got to understand that it's not about being perfect and being complete during this time of stress or difficulty and clarity. You are most effective when you are not clear. You know, you have to speak up. You know, you have to express what's really going on so that you can become clear. You know, we think, you know, when we're in this place of fog, let me just go retreat. No, we're going to speak up, and that's why we are here. We're going to let you know how it goes, what goes down in the get down. How do you come out of these places, you know? And Lonnie, we just happy to have you.
Yeah! Yes. So
we're just happy to have her. So we're excited.
So listen, if you have not tuned in, we have a special guest tonight, our queen, our unstoppable warrior sister queen. And when I tell you, she dropped nuggets and jewels every single time she opened her mouth. The anointing that is on this woman's life is powerful. So I already know that God getting ready to show up and show out, because this tonight, Crown Check 1, 2, 1, 2, it was perfect for Lonnie. So Lonnie Grant. Hello, Queen. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am excited. Like, God is moving. He is doing some phenomenal things for 2020. So I'm excited about this opportunity.
Well, I am excited. So if you do not understand, so Lonnie is an author. She is a dance instructor. She is a caregiver. She is an anointed woman of God that every time she speaks, she going to speak life into you. And she going to tell you the truth too. Don't get it twisted, okay? We keep it 100 right here. And we might keep it 1,000. So tonight, we don't want you to get offended, but we want you to get healed. And there's some things that Lonnie, I know, is going to touch on. And that's what we're here tonight. We're dealing with mental health within our community and amongst our sisters. And a lot of times we don't check crowns, we pull crowns down. So I thought it would be best to bring in one of the queens that's always uplifting women, that's going to keep it 100, that's going to tell you the truth, no chaser to the floor. So we've been talking about a crown check, 1 2 1 2. How many times, Lonnie, have you had the opportunity for a sister to check your crown or try to tear your crown down? Come on, we're gonna jump right into it. Let's go.
Yes, yes, yes. And I can name on my hand how many people that probably try to help to correct the crown versus tear down, because all the time we don't know that we're in the wrong. We don't know that we still need healing versus somebody, taking that hand and say, I got you. I'm here to help you to correct your crown and make sure you adjust it. But I ran across so many people because they're still wounded.
Come on.
They're still unhealed. And when you're wounded and still unhealed, you only know how to pull.
Hey.
You don't know how to adjust. So that's been my experience.
Come on. I'm just thanking God for just the realness already. And I want to just talk about how that plays into effect with our mental health. So we're here today and we're going to talk about a few things that's very uncomfortable, but that's why we're having the why. We want to get into those uncomfortable conversations because we want you to leave here healed. You can't come into this conversation and leave the same. You have 3 different women that have gone through 3 different experiences, and maybe amongst all of us, we probably hit 1,000 or some things that people would be like, you went through that and you still sitting here. Crown check, 1 2 1 2. I will definitely say that in just listening to Lonnie's testimony, the overcoming of depression, the overcoming of feeling stuck was why we had to bring her to the forefront tonight. Andrew was like, there's so many people that we could really bring to the table. Like, how was it? It was not like who do we reach out to? Who's first? And when we talked about crown check, I could immediately, I thought about Lonnie immediately from her picture. Okay, where she got the queens all together and the way that she is addressing and checking crowns. And she sat on her platform to tell you, I rise. And I felt that it was important to have a strong woman that is overcome, because see, we can't help people if we haven't overcome something, and we can't judge things that we don't understand. So we figured we just talk about it because mental health is made to be scary. And I know within our Black community and amongst our queens, we got to be so strong. But sometimes we, as Lonnie was speaking about, and I want Angie, I want you to speak about it as well, how we have reached out to try to have somebody help us correct our crown, but they either snatched our crown down or told us we never had a crown or told us that we didn't matter or made it seem as though we was tripping, but we wasn't tripping. So it's a lot of things in which we get to overcome. And so tonight we get to crown check 1 2 1 2. We coming to you real. We're going to talk about it. We want to know what you're going through. Depression. And I want to start right there. Depression is something that a lot of women don't even understand that you're going through. And a lot of times people don't even keep it 100 with you and allow you to feel the things that you feel, because they tell you that, oh, that is not anything you should be tripping off of. So I want to talk to you about what depression is. And I want you to tell me is if you recognize that within yourself. And then if you recognize that within yourself, Angie and Lonnie, they're going to tap in and we're going to give you some help on overcoming that, because we got to adjust your crown, Queen, because you sit straight. You stand strong and you have poise and you have grace and you have an anointing just on your life. So right now, tonight, we're going to get into adjusting some crowns, because it may be a little bit over to the left too much. It may be a little bit over to the right too much. That thing may be on the floor because mine was gone. That thing was snatched. So we're going to bring it back together.
And you know what? And you know what? Really quickly, God just spoke to something to me in my spirit just right then. And sometimes we think a person's crown check Sometimes we think it's off balance, you know, based off of our perception.
Yeah.
You know, some of us don't take into effect or take into account that we have different women out here that have different goals and different dreams and different aspirations. And if their crown looks different from mine, then I think something's wrong with their crown. If they wear their crown a little to the right or a little to the left, we automatically want to point out an error or a flaw. And it could really be something that's unique about them, you know? It's all about, to me, a confidence builder, because that's what we're really supposed to be doing, is being a confidence builder, you know, uplifting, encouraging one another, not necessarily trying to fix them, okay? Not necessarily trying to always look at us and then project on them what could
Come
be
on,
possibly
Angie.
wrong.
Come on.
It's really about encouraging them, meet them where they are, you know, meet them where they are and help build them, you know? And do we even ask, where do they want to go, or where do they want to be, or how do they see themselves before we start fixing stuff? You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, go on.
No, she said before you get to start fixing stuff, I know that they've tried to fix me. I am unfixable because only Jesus Christ could do it, first of all. And then some of the areas that they thought was wrong was nothing wrong, because even in my midst of forgiveness, that's another crown check. So I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. My crown check is I'm really big on forgiveness and love. And people kept saying something wrong with you. Why you keep talking and being kind and forgiving people? What's wrong with you? And so they don't understand that there's a love and a level of grace that I have in my life to forgive and love on levels that people just don't understand. So for me, where people try to correct me or fix me in that moment, it wasn't even needed. But the depression. So let's talk about depression and what it is. Depression is a mental health condition that people that go through on a regular basis. Women actually go through it 2 times more than men. So I'll give you some statistics on it and I'll talk to you about what it looks like. So depression can be anything. It's the signs of it. So you have moods disorders, you know, and so a person may withdraw, or they may be overly anxious, or they may be angry, or they may be silent, or they just don't want to be bothered at all. Cut everything off, cut everybody off. Another avenue of depression that you can look at, they just lose interest in activity. So you know them that they normally go out and they start, you know, I love to cook, and then they stop cooking. I'm just going to stay in the bed. Or some individuals that are going through depression, they overeat. Some individuals, they stop going out. Some individuals start wearing dark clothes. Some individuals sleep quite a bit. Some individuals don't eat at all. Some individuals eat quite a bit. Some individuals, when they're depressed, they have sex with multiple individuals. They're looking for different coping mechanisms. So depression hits on so many different levels for everybody, and it looks different. So there is no one true tale of what depression looks like. Depression looks like a smile. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. And on the inside, you broken, and you don't even understand how you're even able to look up. Depression is something that when a person puts one foot out of the bed, that's a victory for them. So when you think about things, have you been in a place of depression and didn't recognize it? And Angie, Lonnie, help me out on this. What other areas, what does depression look like, and how do we help our queens check their crowns to see if they're even depressed, to be able to acknowledge it and start that conversation?
I know for me with depression, just like you said, that smile, depression can look like you always strong. You know, some people tend to say, oh, you got this, you always do it. But the whole time you're really suffering inside, and you're like, can somebody be strong for me?
Amen.
And because you're so used to doing it, you're so like embodied with all of these mixed emotions. Like, I just want to rest, but I can't, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm not strong.
Come on.
And you know what? I'm going to add to that too. We hear a lot that silence is golden, and I'm going to contradict that and say silence is a sign of danger. When we are silent, sometimes women are extremely quiet because we suppress our true feelings. Sometimes we just won't say anything at all, and no one will ever know what we are truly going through. So when you get quiet, when you find that there are, you know, people around you, especially your mothers, your sisters, your aunties, your girlfriends, you know, when they become quiet or recluse or drawn away, that's a warning. You know, that's a red flag. Something is going on. And I'm the kind of friend that will pursue. Like, I'm the kind of friend that will say, I know something's wrong, and they may say, leave me alone, but I know something's wrong. What's going on? I'll keep pushing. I know when it's time to back off, but sometimes you have to be forceful, you know, because silence is indicative sometimes of something being suppressed and something being, you know, not right. And another thing I'm going to also add, because you said something about, you know, not being motivated or having this lack of drive at times, you know, and depression. And we spoke this too about men, but it's also true when it comes to women. A lot of times we have a lot of pressure as women to be something. We have a lot of pressure to become something. If it's not a wife, come on, a wife, having children, having the family. Sometimes we, by society or by our families, traditions, values, whatever the case may be, can be forced to live up to a certain standard, okay? And unfortunately, it's unattainable. I'm not saying that standards aren't good, but what I am saying is sometimes standards are unreasonable. Why? Because the gag is, I may not want that. Amen. So it's not that the standard is unreasonable because it can't be accomplished. It just means I don't want it. That's what it is. I just don't want it. So I don't want to be the wife. I don't want to be the mother. I don't want to be this image that everybody says I should be or what I've seen in my family. And then we start warring with our true self and our true identity. And then we think sometimes it's depression when it could be really oppression. I can be really feeling oppressed and suppressed because I don't know what it is that I can do. And then that will lead me into a great depression because now I can't be who I want to be. I can't even chase and pursue my own dreams because it looks far different than what my mother or what my aunt or what my cousin is doing. And so now it's almost like you put yourself in a prison. You know, it's a self-imposed prison that we put ourselves in. And really what will help us is to get free. You know, get free, be honest, open our mouths. I don't want this. I don't want the traditional wife or husband. I don't want the traditional family. I don't want the traditional life. You know, I was saying something on my podcast the other day, and I was talking about, you know, what if I want a t-shirt business? I'm not really trying to plug my t-shirt, but what if I want
Yes, you are. What's the t-shirt, Angie?
God is not hype. God is not hype.
How they get it, Angie?
But what if I want a t-shirt business, right? And what if I want to survive off of that and make it great? Like some people in your family may say that's a whack idea, whack concept. And if you're a woman with creative vision, you may want to do that and find yourself being put in a corner and then becoming depressed because you can't live out your dreams. So these are other ways where we can, you know, teeter-totter into depression, and it can be us. It can be, you know, walking in there and not even knowing it.
Come on, that's good. That's good. So depression and overcoming it and how we look at it, and just first, and I think that's the first root of everything, is identifying what the concern is. And when we talk about the crown check 1, 2, 1, 2, so just being able to look at yourself and say, am I depressed? Am I being pressured or oppressed to become something that I don't want to become, as Angie was just talking about? So we had a question, lady. So I'm gonna give you the question, okay? And either one of you can take it. So we're gonna answer this one live. How can you tell the difference between plastic crowns on queens and real crowns on queens, and when it comes to mental health issues? So this is a great question. I am going to, anybody, I guess we can jump right into it.
Go ahead, Lonnie, eat it up.
Eat it up, Lonnie. So how can you tell in relation to mental health? Let's go.
Okay. So for me, it was hard for me to identify fake from real, because when you're not healed and you got some good stuff going on, you just attract everybody.
Okay.
So you're going to attract, you don't even know what's real or what's fake, because you don't even know you need healing. You don't even know that you fake. Okay?
Come on.
But you wearing a plastic crown. Sometimes we look for real, but we ain't real.
Come on.
Because we're not in a space, especially when it comes to mental health, is recognizing that we need healing so we can now get that real crown. And I know for me, for so long, because so many labels from the time I was born was put on me.
Come on.
So you don't have an identity. So the crown that you think you're wearing is literally an imitation because it's not really you. You can't own a crown that ain't you. That's
Come
not
on.
my, until I go back and heal and understand who I am is now when I recognize a real crown, and now I can properly wear it because I know God gave me the crown from birth, but too many people tainted the crown, so it's not warm anymore.
Mhm.
So that's what I gather when I think about real versus fake.
That's good.
You got to fix you. You can identify what's real and what's fake.
Come on. That's good. That's good. Angie?
And I'm going to add to that.
I already know. Let's go.
Listen, when you can't listen, plastic crowns versus real crowns completely 100% are supported by the fire.
Come on.
If you have not been able to get through a suffering or a purification or being refined, like if you cannot get through certain things in your life, or you have not been tested and tried, right, to earn your place in the world, to earn your position, to earn that seat. You know, many times we like to ride off the coattail and the motivation and the momentum of others. We don't really got a life. We don't really got a story. You know, we really haven't been through anything. And so sometimes when we are thinking about mental illness, mental awareness, you know, wearing your crown, and we talked about this a little bit. I did a series on the strong Black woman myth.
Yes, that was good. That was good.
Sometimes as a strong Black woman, the myth is telling us that we are strong when we really are not. We ain't been through nothing. We haven't had any experiences in our life. And so we like to take the experiences of others, third-party conversations, third-party experiences, and pretend that we got it going on until we get into a real fight, a real battle. And now we don't know how to stand. We don't know how to make it. We don't know how to pull through, but yet we are trying to stand as an example to someone else. And until we actually have gone through the layers of our own trauma, because our layers literally go layer by layer, season by season, month by month, and it ain't overnight. So all these people out here that are thinking about these overnight fixes and speaking these affirmations, and I decree and I declare that I'm blessed and I'm successful and I'm healed, but you ain't even go through a weeding up and digging out process. You ain't been left. You ain't been burnt 10 times, sis.
Come on.
You gotta be greased at least 10 times, sis, before you really understand, you know, what real triumph looks like. And so we walk around with this false sense of security, false sense of strength, and we're only a detriment to ourselves. Because again, when we are faced with real challenges, we break or we cower away. We run into a corner because we don't know how to face our fears. And sometimes when we are checked, we can't handle the check either. Crown check 1 2 1 2. When you get checked, boo, come on. When a real sister checks you, crown check 1 2 1 2. You can't even like come face to face with it. You can't even meet it. You know, you can't even say, you know what, maybe I need to deal with this. You know what, maybe that is the problem. You know, maybe sis, it is you. Yeah. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe you are your own problem. And until we can go through those different types of like awarenesses, you know, coming to the conclusion that I could be my problem, coming to the conclusion, like I have to face my fears, coming to the conclusion that I got a lot of mess, that I got a lot of dirt.
I had a lot of mess.
Yeah. And it is okay, because many of us don't understand that a lot of that mess, a lot of that dirt is for us to be recycled. It's to be used. It's to be processed. It's like stored energy. A lot of us got a lot of dirt that can be used as stored energy to make us great. But we're so busy trying to look good. We're so busy trying to look beautiful. So busy. And listen, I love the whole self-care movement because I'm in it right now. Self-care, self-love. But it has become so artificial now, where you just think you go and buy a crown and wear a tiara, or you just take these bath, what do you call those, salt baths?
The salt baths. You got a soap, Angie. They want this. They need soft skin. Leave us alone, Angie.
Okay,
leave my bath alone.
Right, and I'm just saying it goes much deeper than that. It's a soul journey. It's a soul journey that you have to go on, and it takes time, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like a well done, or like how Malkia makes those stews. She be cooking up in the kitchen. It takes time, y'all, to get a real crown. It takes time to get a real one. You know, it's gonna be tested and tried. You have to suffer a while before you get it.
Go ahead, Queens. I appreciate you. So when I think about the real versus the fake when it comes to the crowns and mental health, I don't think that you have the right to say whether somebody's is fake or real, period. I don't think it's any of your business. Let's just cut to the chases. I believe that when we're looking at individuals and you're trying to determine whether their thoughts about suicide and them telling you that they're thinking about dying, I don't think that that's your place to try to say if it's real or fake, because if you're sitting there and trying to figure out if it's real or fake, you're missing an opportunity to be of service and to give love. And that's the time in which we lose people so much, because we're always trying to analyze, is this real or is this fake? Because we've gone through so much, and that's all we really experience is the fake. So sometimes the realness is sitting right in front of you, but you've never identified with it because you've never seen real. And so a lot of times we are limited to be able to even open our mind to receive something new, because you're only working on limited information. If I shared with you today the number of women that die by suicide compared to the number of men, it would blow your mind. So let's talk about it just a little bit. I want to give you some numbers. There are 3 male suicides to every one female suicide. So 3 men die to every 1 female dying. But there are 3 suicide attempts for every female compared to the 1 death of men. Wow. So let's talk about this. And we're thinking about depression, and we're talking about plastic and real crowns. At the end of the day, whether your crown is plastic or it's real, people are hurting. Depression on me is going to be the same on you. It hurts. Hurt for me is going to be the same for you. It hurts. Disappointment is disappointment. Abandonment is abandonment. Rape is rape. Fear is fear. And lack is lack. And so those are things where I think that we take that off and not worry about whether are they real, are they serious about this, or are they fake? Just be in a position of love to be able to be of service to somebody, because you don't even understand. Just your smile, that gives acceptance. That means a whole lot. Just your, are you okay? And I mean, are you really okay? Sis, you got time to talk. I'm not talking about some, you good? I'm out. You good? You all right? I got you. No, I'm talking about that genuineness. So I just ask that you take anybody that you hear speaking about suicide. I ask that you hear any woman that's speaking about depression. I ask that you see any of your sisters that are just going the hell through. They had a terrible breakup. They keep going back and they with the same person over and over again, or they keep going into the same friendships and they keep burning them. But sometimes, how long did it take for you to make an adjustment? So sometimes we go through the same thing over and over. So I don't think that we should worry about what's always real and what's fake, but we should be in a position of being there.
That's service. Yes. Amen. 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 That's right.
So I thought that was interesting. And I think when you think about it, when we talk about suicide, and that for me, I speak about a lot. I'm a suicide attempt survivor. So that is the purpose of Empowerment Essence, is to make sure that we help individuals live and not die by suicide. I don't want you hurting by yourself. I don't want you going through depression. Let's have this crown check 1 2 1 2. Let's have that rough, difficult conversation, because I know your sisters ain't been genuine with you. I realize that they just want to be in my business, but like right now tonight, this is a safe space where you got 3 women that's gonna keep it 100 with you because we genuinely care. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right. I care. I'm Shanetta Malkia Sapp, and I care. How about you, Lonnie? You care. I promise you, every queen that's here, they care.
That's right. And it's important. It's important to know, as women. Did we lose Lonnie? Because I think she froze.
I think she may be, but she will come back in.
Okay.
I know. Yes.
And I think a lot of times that's the thing. A lot of women don't feel safe to have those real conversations within their friendships, within their circles, because a lot of times, women are different when they have breakups and fallouts, and they can, get hurt or offended easily. It requires the strength and what is the word I'm looking for? Not safety, but not confidant. It's like protection. Like, are we protecting our sisters? And can we really depend upon our sisters to have our back? And again, we talked about that too. for the series that I spoke about, which was what was the series again? The Strong Black Woman. The Strong Black Woman with. And it's all about, you know, how can I be there for my sister? Like, I want my friends to be there for me, right? And I want my friends to be integral. I want them to be honest, yo. I want them to be loyal to me, yo. I want them to be there for me, right? And a lot of times when you have women that are broken, or their crowns, you know, are not on a right head, because the crown check is not necessarily about the crown. It's more about what it's on, like the head.
Come
right?
On, the foundation. So, let's go. The foundation.
Right, it's about
you know, it's like a base of a weave, Angie. The base of a weave. You need good braids or good foundation to get that weave right, girl. You got
I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know.
You got that good.
But you know, it's about the mind. And if the mind is broken, and if the mind is not healed, you pick friends based off of your pain. Like you'll pick friends that are just as broken as you are, right? And we've heard about this trauma bonding, and it's very, very common in mental health challenges, depression, sadness, oppression. You know, it's common that we will connect with people that have the same kind of pain. And then we wonder why the support isn't there. It's because really right now you're just bonding because you have the same pain. You're not bonding with the person that can help you. You're not bonding with the person that's ready to change. Y'all, listen, when we get to the place of checking our crowns, it's about change. Do you know that this season is all about changing, crumbling down every system that wasn't working in your life? And that starts in the mind, because the enemy infiltrates your mind to get 100% authority over your body, over your purpose, and over your promise, and over your future. So if the enemy can come in your mind and infiltrate and destroy what God has already intended for you, then of course you're not going to get anywhere, right? So now we got to check our minds. And when we start changing, y'all, it's not a bad thing. One thing about change is not supposed to be.
You sure, Angie, it's not bad?
I'm sorry. No, it's not bad. It's a good thing. Listen, change is not bad or good. It's inevitable. It has to happen. It's part of life. It has to happen in our life. And once we get that expectation of it being good or bad, should I receive it? If it's good, I don't want to have it because it's bad or I'm afraid, then you can walk into change. And your friendships, your dynamics, the strength in your friendships, the integrity in your friendships, the authenticity you find in yourself, because when you change, you find yourself, the real self. And then when you find the real self, you attract the real friends that can hold you up, right? That can be there for you. And so when we are talking about, you know, mental health and depression and sadness and connecting and support, yo, we got to change, man. We got to be changing, and we got to be experiencing change, and we got to stop. Listen, and this is my last
it is thing. Not, because you might check 1, 2, 1, 2.
Listen, we should not. I'm just going to put this out here. We should not be cutting off friends every single year.
Well,
we should not be cutting off girlfriends every single year. We should not be glorifying this cutoff season. It's sick. It's almost saying that every single year you got to have a new set of friends. Well, I mean, I get it because we change, but not to the point where we are looking forward to cutting off people in our life every single year. If we got to replace people in our life every single year, then what is that saying about us? That's saying that we are unpredictable. That means that we ain't healed. That means we ain't consistent. Okay? I will judge a person in the sense of, if I'm going to look at consistency, look at how long has their friendships last? That's just like with a person with a job. How long they been at their job?
Girl, you know that changed every 6 months because last supervisor was running her mouth, and the other one didn't let me eat my food when I was at the front desk. So I had to figure. That's how they do friendships.
And that's a red flag. So I'm letting you know that's a red flag, not just for the people that you are changing friendships and dynamics with, but it's a red flag in you. Why do you feel the need that you have to change friends and cut people out your life every 12 months? And let's be honest, if you cut them out at 12 months, you already cut them off probably months ago.
Month two. They cut them off already. And I think that I'm just going to touch on that. And then Lonnie, I want you to speak on that. When you're talking about cutting people off, and we're talking about depression, how many people feel abandoned because somebody cut you off? Come on. And that's one of the biggest things for us. We're so quick to cut somebody off opposed to being there, because the word said a friend Iron sharpens iron. So therefore, you got to be able to sharpen each other. You got to be able to be there for one another. And I just want my sister or my brother to be there. And you got to be thicker than anything. So I'm talking about be there with me when I'm at my worst, when I'm not nothing. When God says I'm everything, and I'm acting a fool, and I'm acting crazy, and I'm not acting as if I am a queen. I don't even know that I'm a queen. They never told me I was a queen. I never understood that. I didn't even know I had a crown. What is a crown? What the heck are you talking about, Shanetta? A crown check 12112. Girl, ain't nothing on my head except this weed or this little cap on whatever's going on, but I didn't even know. So I speak to my queens that didn't even know that you were a queen. I shout out to my queens that say, I don't even want to be a queen because I don't want the responsibility, but it's not as scary as you think, because you can authentically be yourself and be the queen that God has called you to be, and just be just as energetic, just as spicy, and just as loving and caring, and be everything that you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Because your crown is important just like my crown is important. And my crown is important just like Angie's crown is important. And Angie's crown is important just like Lonnie's crown is important. And each one of us brings something different to the table. But when we come together and we say crown check 1212, I know if I see my sisters going through something or something's going on and it look off, I'm not coming to you, Facebook. I'm not going to the phone. I'm not going nowhere to run my mouth. I'm going to my sister to say, sis, crown check 1212. How can I be there to help you and serve you, or just to let you know I'm here?
Yes.
That's what crown check is about. Lonnie, what you got, Queen?
Wow, that was powerful. That was powerful. And one of the things that resonated and came up with me is how, because I know I had an issue growing up where you couldn't have a voice. You know, if you grew up in a household where it was one of those things is stay in your child's place.
Come on.
If you were always told to sit down and you don't have a voice here, you know, when you would come and, you know, and tell somebody what happened, I feel like that trauma continues onto your adult life and your friendships. So how do you get that dialogue to even come to that sister to say, this is what I'm feeling? Because in the back of their mind, they're like, I don't got time for that. I'll just go share it on social media because I know I got an audience over there.
They got an audience, girl. They like an audience. People like an audience.
They love an audience. So instead of going to that person, because most of us probably wasn't shown the correct way how to deal with conflict. When it arises, this is what you do. Most of us, I know in my household, my grandmother, I would hear her talk about all her friends. And they would just, you know, that was the thing in the house. She ain't got nothing, her kids ain't got nothing on mine.
Yes.
My grandbaby's this. So you learn how to be catty. You learn how to gossip. We learn how to, when we have conflict, oh, you ain't got to deal with her no more. Don't worry about her. And you like, well, grandma, that's my friend. Oh, her nappy head tail ain't, you ain't got to deal with that. So you grow up with this mentality and you learned to do it for so long. How do you now make the shift? I know for me, it took me to start healing myself. But a lot of people who don't even understand healing or what that's about, and like Shanetta said, don't even know they got a crown. They don't even know what that is.
That's right.
So how do I have the dialogue? How do I have that conversation and say, you know what, you made me upset and I didn't like this? Or how do I convey my feelings and not go to social media?
That's right. And also, I think the emotional trauma that we suffered, what you're talking about, Lonnie, too, you know, as Black women, we weren't really expressive, you know, as far as love goes, like companionship or unconditional love, like within our friendships. You know, sometimes it's hard to express love. And, you know, let's be honest. There are women out here, even in friendships, that expect the worst in friendships. They expect it to come to an end. Like they expect their friends to betray them. They expect people expect people to betray their trust and not be permanent. And sometimes when you finally get that one, you can get that one person, or you can get friends that actually are expressive. It can be intimidating because you don't know how to reciprocate that. You don't know how to, you know, meet up where they are. And so when you talk about, okay, communicating and being emotional or emotionally available and vulnerable in relationships, sometimes that could be the stumbling block, because we were never taught how to be that in friendships. We were never taught that. We were never taught how to be that as a woman, a Black woman to Black mother, Black daughter. I mean, let's talk about that. You know, within our Black families, Black mother to Black daughter, how many of us had a relationship with our Black mothers where we were loved and we were able to express it, where we got hugs, we got kisses, you know, where our mothers could actually tell us what a good friend is and how emotions really keep a friendship together. We are so quick, again, to cut people off, especially when we are challenged, when we are checked, when we are put in this place of accountability. We don't think that that's good. We think somebody's trying to, you know, pull our name or run our name through the dirt or drag us, and it's not. When you get a person that really loves you and supports you and cares about you, that's what you do. You know, you tell them in love, you tell them out of compassion. Love covers a multitude of sin. So when you get to this place when you really want to connect with people, I think the biggest fear and why it happens is because we are afraid of our own emotional vulnerability. We are afraid of being emotionally connected to people, especially us as women, because we've already been hurt by our Black men. I'm sorry. We've already
some of them did it. Some of them did it. Some of them did it.
We've already been failed by our Black mothers. I said what I said.
You said what you said. You told the truth.
Somebody had. We've been. You know, it feels like somewhere we've been abandoned just in our emotional stability. So now we get girlfriends who we want to confide in. We want to get girlfriends that we want to be open and honest with. But, you know, it's just like back in the system. When we have broken families, the one thing we don't want to do is talk about our brokenness because they're going to take our family away. So it's like within our girlfriend relationships, we don't want to talk about our pain because now they're going to take our pain, sip our tea, and share it with somebody else.
And they're going to go have a whole meal. I'm talking about they straight at happy hour like, and this is what happened to her. And then I told her this was going to happen, and she didn't listen to this. I'm just going to speak for me. Shout out to all the friends that left that I thought was friends. Shout out to y'all. Bless you. Thank you for the lessons you've taught me. I love you. Because what I realized, and we're speaking out, and Lonnie, I'm going to go back and answer your question. So how do we actually start having that conversation? And I'm going to go back to what Andrew was speaking about with our grandparents and what they taught us. So let's really break this down when we're thinking about mental health within the Black community in general. One, our parents didn't have the opportunity, our great-grandparents, their great-grandparents, and their parents didn't have the opportunity to express love and affection all the time. They did in some ways, and that's how they were able to keep the family unit together. But they were stripped and ripped apart from the very beginning. So therefore, being attached to people is what Black individuals, unfortunately, in my eyes, and looking at our history, we have been taught to be stripped and pulled apart. So we have not been shown to be strengthened and come together. So they played us against each other. Even when you speak about the mother and the daughter, how many mothers and daughters are in conflict with each other because there's a competition, or a mother has not healed, or a mother has had a child at a very young age and sees their daughter thriving and moving forward, and they're hurting because they want that and they don't feel like they can have that. There's a lot that has happened within our communities and in our history that is a generational thing that continues to go on. So how do we have that conversation with our girlfriend that is very aggressive and angry? And if you come to her and tell her that, sis, I feel uncomfortable about the fact that you're doing that, she's gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Pardon me. That's what she's giving. And looking at you like, what? I ain't do what? How do you have that conversation with that queen? So you got to meet her on her level. Sis, I love you dearly. Okay, let me explain something to you. I love you dearly. You my sis, and I love you. But I'm telling you this can't happen because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I respect you enough to be able to have this conversation with you because I don't want to lose you as a friend. I think that you can have some real basic, simple conversations, not no long, drawn out step 1, step 2, step 3. I believe that
that's the kind of friend I'm at. That's the kind of friend I am.
Let's go. You gotta have that because you gotta be able to know who you're dealing with and know your friend. You gotta know how to address and meet your friend. I know that I can't go to some of my friends and be aggressive and be like, you did this and never, and I have a temper and I fly off the handle and be like, well, you made me feel this way, and then I don't listen to anything. But you gotta know know your audience and be able to know how to address somebody and meet them. And it's not to say, because you don't understand, their defensiveness is why they come off that way. They've
That's
gone
right.
through something. So in order to help them open up their eyes in different situations, talk to them about how they've been upset in situations and how they could have had somebody help them feel better. And I believe that when you care about somebody, and I heard this recently in a service, it was called Trauma, Triggers, and Love. And it was speaking about the fact that when you really care about somebody, you'll adjust.
Yes.
People
Come
say,
on.
I'm just that, this is just who I am. This is how I talk to something.
Like
no,
that.
baby. If you care, baby, you're going to adjust, sugar.
Yes.
You know the way you adjust for that man when you want him to give you the D and he ain't answering phone stuff. You adjust, babe. You take pictures, babe. I mean, I'm going to talk about what I used to do. I would take a picture and post a picture and be like, excuse me, pardon me. I am here. I'm just going to keep it 100 since we having a crayon check 1, 2, 1, 2. Ladies.
Come on.
I just want to make sure we can go ahead and have a genuine conversation. So we literally have to adjust when we genuinely care. We got to adjust the way we treat ourselves. We got to adjust the way we see ourselves. We got to adjust the way we see our sisters. Crown check 1, 2, 1, 2. We are adjusting some things because some things genuinely have to be changed. Let's go, Angie. Some things genuinely have to be adjusted. And some people, Lonnie, we can't abandon because if we abandon them, we the only damn hope they have.
That's
and
it.
God said, why are you leaving people when I didn't leave you?
I never left you.
Why are you expecting people to get stuff in a year when it took you 20, Queen, and you still working on stuff that don't nobody know about? Why, my sis? Crown check 1, 2, 1, 2. Why, sis, is it funny that she's going through that when you went through it just a few years ago? Why, sis, are you got so much to say as if you even helped, but forgot that they helped you? Why, sis? Crown check 1, 2, 1, 2.
My God.
Stop going through to phones, go to the throne and pray that God sends you that individual you can connect with. Because we've been burned in a lot of things. I'm going back to what we talked about history. Our history has taught us that we've been burned, so we got to take care of ourselves. And that's where that whole crabs in the barrel comes from. Well, we got this little bit. I can't let nobody else get it. And I know they say it's enough for all of us, but if I give you my little bit, then I'm not going to have enough. It's not enough, but it really is. So these are things that cause people to go into depression, not being able to take care of their family, not to be able to have a genuine connection, to feel abandoned, to feel rejected, to feel left out, to be told that you're worthless, to be rejected by your parents, to be raped and molested. Things are things that people are going through on the inside that they have never even identified and found a close connection where they can reveal and let that stuff out. So they can identify that, damn, I'm depressed because that shit on the inside was still eating me up.
Come on.
That's it.
I want you to know that it hurts and it's okay to not be okay, Queen. But I don't want you to not be okay alone, and I don't want you to stay right there. You can't stay right there.
That's it.
Because I'm gonna tell you that I've been broken and alone. I've been depressed. I've been laughed at. I've been joked on. My pain from domestic violence to losing jobs to being an exotic dancer to doing so many things. People say you should be dead and you know good, Net. Like you dead, Net. They call me fake now because I've changed. Let's go.
I was just about to say, that's the first thing that happens when you change, when you step into an authentic life or you start moving away from the normalcy. The ones that have not changed will call it fake simply because it's foreign to them.
Come on.
Okay?
And we like foreign cars.
Foreign.
I like foreign cars. I love foreign cars. I love foreign trips. I love everything foreign.
And we don't have, unfortunately, what's missing in our friendships and what's missing, even when we think about mental health awareness and when we think about changing or healing, is the staying power. Staying power, you're going to definitely need when you're going through the changes and even talking about your mental health. Because you have to be able to park there, sis. You gotta park. You gotta park. Okay? You gotta get there, take it all in, accept the fact that you're not all the way 100, accept the fact that you have not arrived and that some things are off. Okay, and it's okay because you gotta park. You gotta get to this place of pausing so that you can really get quiet. Because it's not a quick fix. And if you don't have the staying power to look at yourself in the mirror, like man in the mirror, you got to really look at yourself because too many times with depression and oppression and, you know, anxiety and anger, you know, the frustration, all of those things, unfortunately, we like to point at other things, outside influences. Again, someone said earlier, I don't know if it was Lonnie or Malkia, where we talked about, you know, when we are looking at other people, we like that blame game, you know, distracting ourselves from the problem, you know, making it about other people instead of making it about ourselves. Because it's very easy to become very evasive when it's about us. Judgment only is really good over there. Like when you're pointing your finger, judgment works over there. But sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, okay, well, again, maybe it was me. There's something I need to be doing within myself. And that's going to take that staying power to look at yourself for real, not just for a day, not just watching someone on social media, Instagram, TV Live, or just even us today. Okay. It's going to take work. You are going to have to be your first client in your life. You're going to have to be that first work, that first masterpiece, and allow. And I was going to say something too, Makia, when you said about the partnerships and about people. Stop cutting off y'all's lifelines.
Come on.
That God gives you in your life.
Come on.
You know, divine partnerships, divine people. Woo! Stop treating all of your lifelines like they are just everybody. Like I'm telling you right now, you got me as a friend. I ain't just anybody. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not just anybody. Hey. You cut me off. Something wrong with you.
Yay, tell him, Angie.
I'm sorry. Absolutely. I said what I said.
I said what I said. Angie, first of all, I'm going to say what you said. If you cut her off, if you cut Lonnie off, if you cut Angie off, you are cutting off the wrong people.
It's the wrong people.
You are cutting off. Because we're connected to the source.
Okay, we are connected to the source. And what's so beautiful about it is that we already believe in the best in you no matter where you came from. So going into that, Lonnie, we have a question about depression. And so this question comes from the audience and they asked that Angie, you and I can answer, but they specifically want to, Lonnie, and this is an anonymous question. So depression and baby blues for mothers and mothers to be. What are your experience with depression when it comes to be a mother and how do you overcome?
Oh, my gosh. Depression. I want you to read that question again because something else is resonating. I want to make sure I answer it.
Yes, ma'am. So the question is depression and baby blues for mothers and mothers to be. What is your experience with depression when you became a mother?
I think for me, what resonated with me as far as depression, I didn't know if I was going to be, because so often I was told I would be just like my mother. So when it came, and I was a teen mom as well, I had my son in high school. So I was going through all of these feelings and I'm like, do I really love this kid? How do I know what that is? I didn't know. And I would find myself just looking at my son like, I love him, but is he real? Kind of like it was because it was resonating so much with my own story and how my mom abandoned me and she went on drugs. And it's like, how can I give this being something I don't know anything about? So I found myself in this whole depression where when people would say, you okay? No, I'm good. I'm good. And I didn't know how to really speak up for myself because I was 17 to say, this is what I am feeling, because no one really asks you about mental health when you leave the hospital.
Come on.
No one asks. Everybody is more concerned about, do you have a place to live and are you going to breastfeed? I remember those two things. You thinking about breastfeeding? You need to breastfeed, but you never ask, have I ever even endured trauma? Do I, you made sure that I had a car seat to leave the hospital. That was it. But no one really came in that room to say, are you okay with going home? And if you are not, here's some resources to check in with. So I did end up having postpartum. I did, because I was just stuck. I just didn't know that was a depression feeling that I was feeling. My kid's father, he was amazing to me, but I didn't even know how to plug into him to even say thank you for helping me. I just didn't know how. So depression, it was bananas.
And
So
I want to add to that too.
That question.
I want to add to that too. I went through the same thing. That's how I found out that I was depressed. By the third time that I had my third child, there was something that had came over me. It was great fear. That was one thing that I remember, fear of being a mother to 3 children now. And just like what Lonnie was saying about, you know, all the nurses wanted to do at the time was to, you know, see if I was producing enough milk and if I had a car seat, but no one talked or asked me if I even wanted that little baby on my breast in the first place, you know, and that was also the disconnect. Like, I didn't want to nurse sometimes, you know, I was feeling a great disconnect. And when you have the baby blues, we all know, or maybe we don't, baby blues are supposed to be like a short amount of time, just say 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 8 weeks at the most. You will have these baby blues symptoms, you know, just feeling inadequate or fearful, right? Feeling like, am I a good mom? But if it extends further than that, if it goes into the 12 weeks and 16 weeks, 5 months, maybe 6 months, and you still feel inadequate, you're not connecting with the baby, you know, you're still crying, you're still feeling this, like, this disconnect in identity, 9 times out of 10, you have crept over into depression. And it's a scary feeling. Why? Because as mothers, and if we've come from mothers that have already been predispositioned to be depressed, like a lot of our mothers were depressed and we didn't know because they didn't tell us.
Come on, Angie.
And we know that within Black families, or just with depression, period, if there's mental illness in the family, 9 times out of 10, you're also going to struggle with mental illness too. But when you are feeling these things and you want to vocalize it, but you're afraid to vocalize it because you can't identify with it because you had no one else to identify with it in the family. And when you did, most of the family members said, you'll be okay, you'll get through it. My mom did it, your auntie did it, big mom did it.
Girl, you just
everybody
did
it. You'll get through it. Those are not the proper coping, you know, those are not the tools you extend out, right?
No.
Because it's not about that. That's not what we do. But again, because we have not really done the work, we haven't sat in no therapy, we haven't sat on the couch. Our mother didn't sit on the couch, our grandmother didn't sit on the couch. So when we start feeling this, what do we go back to? The very first thing we said earlier about some signs and symptoms. We get quiet about it.
Yeah.
We get quiet about it and we just cuss everybody else out. Yeah. You know, we go crazy. We have all these other challenges that are affected because we're quiet. So
or doing things to the baby.
Or doing things. Come on,
Lonnie. Come on, Lonnie. Come on, Lonnie.
You know, we see that a lot. You know, then you have people to start judging that mom and say, how could that happen? That's your child. How, you know, who does that? That's you know, that's your blood. It came out of you, but you didn't realize, yes, it came out of me, but I was so depressed that I didn't even know that I had the potential to even harm my child. No one asks you that. So it is, you know, I think parents, because I'm not going to just say moms, because dads go through it too, where they be put in a situation because they don't have the tools we got, girl.
Okay.
They got the tools we got. So, and it's like, you hear these stories of parents committing suicide. You hear them harming their kids. And again, we judge so quickly without even understanding the whole groundwork of it.
Come on.
Yeah. And then we get to this place where it takes us a year or two. I think when I first noticed that something was wrong was after my first baby, my first child. I did not get real clinical help until my 4th child. That was a space of 4 years. I suffered in silence before I was brave enough or just hit rock bottom. Sometimes by the time you get help, is because you hit rock bottom. Everything in your life has gone to crap, you know, the people and your family, you know, you've lost a lot of things, you've lost a lot of time. And it's like, by this time, something else has to give. So to answer that question, I hope we did a good job with answering that question.
That was good.
With depression versus baby blues. Baby blues is temporary, and it really goes away on its own. But depression is going to last with you. It's going to stay, and it's going to be something that you cannot fix with, you know, date night, sex, going to the movies, drinking, any shopping, new clothes for the baby. It's a soul issue. It's a soul issue. And that's going to require somebody to go deep down inside. You allowing someone to cut you, to go deep inside, to let that blood, that traumatized blood come out, because that's what it really is. It's just trauma, a old wound, a spiritual wound that the baby brought out.
Come on.
Okay?
Oh, oh my God. You know what? Let me tell you something. I read an article and I thought it was so profound that your own baby can be a trigger for you. Come on. Like, people don't talk about that. Even like how they press you out to breastfeed, and you're like, that baby latch on, and you don't realize, you think about that molestation that
come on.
And people wonder, you know, why you won't breastfeed your child, why this thing happened, but you never you didn't even take the time to understand my headspace to realize that this is a whole trigger for me.
Come on, crown check 1, 2, 1, 2. Come on.
And that's what we gotta address. So when you said that about the trauma, it really makes you think about, like, dang, maybe somebody had that baby out of trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And now the baby is here, and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to feed it?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to nurture it? I don't know how to do this because I was on Get Back.
Okay.
Right.
Come on, Lonnie.
I was on Get Back. Child, you ain't supposed to be here. You weren't supposed to be here. You was on Get Back.
Your daddy, it was just for that other check, and I ain't want him to be happy, so that's why you're here. And then for so many people, and I know for me, you're just like your father. We talked about that when we were talking about our men. This whole, you're gonna be like your mama, or you're gonna be like your daddy, or just sometimes when you say triggers, and I'm just gonna speak to some of our queens and some of even our kings, and we may have some that's listening tonight. When you see that child that looks like that ex or that former partner, and that triggers you, and you have to remember that that's not them, that is of their DNA, but that child is also of you. And so a lot of things happen, and that's where the conflict, even between mothers and daughters, and fathers and sons, and mothers and fathers, it's just a whole big problem. So when we really dissect things and really get down to the root of it, it's a matter of identifying what is the root cause of this hurt and this trauma that is going on. So when you see a mother that is detaching and does not want to have anything to do with her child, don't judge. Take a moment to adjust your crown and take your judgmental crown off and put on an empathetic crown, and just have some more understanding as to what's taking place. And then I'm going to take it a step further for those queens that have not had children, that would like to have children, that feel as though you are going through depression because you feel like you're inadequate as a woman, or you haven't had a child, or they tell you you're supposed to be married or be in your family now. I want to tell you that they straight up lied, sis. They lied, sis. You are more of a woman than anything ever. They can't even touch you. I thank you that if you want to have children, that God has already touched your womb, and that you are already now preparing to have for your children. And then the things that have happened, the miscarriages that have happened before, they're not going to take place now. I thank God for sending your husband, not your man, for the day, for the month, for the 9 months, because we're talking about a lifetime. I thank God for sending your lifetime partner, if that's what you want. I thank God for showing you a way to nurture children and be a mother to multiple children and not just one child. I thank God for showing you. But you are everything, Queen, and there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you.
And we also have to look at too, that, and I say this all the time, and some women get mad, and some women, you know, got to deal with it because I said what I said. But not every woman is meant to be a wife, and not every woman is meant to be a mother. Yeah. And unfortunately, society has forced this agenda on us that, you know, we should be seeking out marriage and should be seeking out a family. And unfortunately, that in itself can make us depressed. That can make us feel inadequate. chasing after some unrealistic dream that someone else has imposed on us. Or they will say, because you haven't had a family yet, or you don't have a family at this age, or this child at this age, your life isn't successful. When unfortunately you're inside thinking, maybe I don't want children. Like I said earlier, maybe you don't want a family. And I think it's so important. I truly believe that you must know who you are. Your identity, your purpose is going to gear you to where you're supposed to be. You are more likely to be happier when you know who you are meant to be, when you know who God has called you to be, when you know what your purpose is in life. You know, your purpose isn't only supposed to be a house and carriage or a family and marriage. It's supposed to be, what is your service? Because that's really what God has called you to do, to be a service to people, to serve his people. Now, if that is through childbirth, and now God is going to bless you to serve your children, okay, that's one thing. Or bless you to be a wife, to serve your husband, that's another thing. But guess what, ladies? There's more to life than being a wife and being a mother. There are so many other things. Entrepreneurship, you know, being a CEO, being a business owner, you know, just being a woman, having the ability to travel, to be a career learner, you know, to be able to be free, to give your gifts freely, you can reach more people. And I'm just saying listen, she said what she said. You can reach, you're more of service to people when you're not married and when you don't have children. You can do a better work and serve God and serve his people and serve the kingdom and serve your purpose when you aren't married and when you don't have children. I said what I said. And I love my kids. I love my kids. I was married too. And I knew right then and there that unfortunately I didn't know who I was. I was living out. I was fearful. I had children early. I had 5 children by the time I got married. I needed help. Let's just keep it real. I was tired and I needed help. Okay. And so therefore that was an option for me. Right. But then when I started changing, the thing about me was I started to heal in my marriage. I started to become a butterfly in my marriage and realized that and this is no knock to him, but I became a butterfly and he was the caterpillar. And so now I realize I'm unequally yoked and I have something else that I have to do. And he hadn't changed. And so unfortunately, that's what happens when we partner up with caterpillars, when we are turning into butterflies, when we are monarchs, okay? So it's best to turn into your monarch alone, okay? So that you don't hurt people's feelings, y'all. And so that you don't feel connected and obligated to a caterpillar. So that when you start changing, now you're trying to drag this caterpillar along and it's killing you. It's weighing you down because you don't want to you don't want your change, like what Shanetta was saying. You don't want your change to be offensive to people. When people start saying you're fake. No, I just am foreign now to you. We don't speak the same language. We can't go to the same places anymore.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. So now with women and going through and looking at who they are, and when we think about depression and sadness and depression, the way we can remedy that is, ladies, when we want to park there and get real about our lives, let's find out who we really are first. Before we start thinking about partnership and connection and, you know, things like that. And honestly, like we said before, your sphere of influence, the people you have around you is important. Assess that and you'll find out who you really are. When you look at the people around you, it's an indication of who you really are, right? So if you don't like what you see, if you don't like who you are, the first thing to go is your sphere of influence. You got to tweak that. You got to mic check. You got to crown check that.
Crown check that too. And that will remove some of that heaviness and weight. You know, we got to be able to identify that and get real with ourselves.
Come on, Angie. I want to talk to our queens real quick. I know Angie's going to be leaving us in a little bit. She is. So, and there's a couple of things I need her to do before she leaves us. So Angie started her mentoring program. And if you have not
followed my queen sister, you need to do that immediately. So I need you, if you're on Instagram, on Facebook, I need you to follow Angela C. Green Ministries. On Instagram, I want you to just look in there. You talk too much, because she tells you the truth. I mean, so we got to talk a lot to tell you the truth. So I need you to follow her. I need you to make sure you support Angie. Angie, you have God is my hype. Tell us all how to get it, how to follow you, and then tell them more about the programs, because I just did a snippet. Come on, let's go.
Thank you so much, guys. I have this online mentorship. It's a 6-month online mentorship, and it's all about life and cycles. It's all about change. My thing is all about change, because I went from a caterpillar to a monarch, and it was brutal. It took years to accomplish. So I'm all about change. I'm all about transformation. I'm all about permanent change. So that's what my mentorship is all about. The God is my hype, the hashtag God is my hype period. It's all about, I don't need anybody to support what I do, because God is my hype. You know,
Yes.
He supports everything that I do. And all of this zeal and all of this excitement comes especially and strategically from God. So every single thing that I'm about, every single thing that I do is all about the hype, the zeal, the power, the anointing that God has put inside of me. And so I just thought about that, because a lot of times we're looking for the plug, and God is the plug.
Hey, let's go.
He the plug.
Come on, he the plug. And so people don't understand how you change, Shanetta. They don't understand how we move, Lonnie. They don't understand how we got this glow and how we survive and how we overcome our obstacles. And see, I've learned the trick. I don't got to throw and cast the mountain to the sea, right? I just got to overcome it. And then it moves out of my way for me, right? It moves out of my way for me. And so that's what hashtag God is my hype is about. You know, it's about being a force. It's about independently knowing that I'm a force. So definitely support the t-shirts. I have a whole collection. I have t-shirts, mugs, pens, and journals. It's for a limited amount of time. And you can visit my page, Angela C. Green Ministries, and find the link at my Shopify store. And get at me.
Get at her. Join the mentorship. Angie is fire in the anointing and the words and the prayers that you will receive and being just connected. And so a lot of times people say, well, you got to connect. And I heard that when I joined, I found my church home. It was a matter of being connected to the right community, being connected to the right individuals. And I hear people always talk something, you know, I want to hang out with this person because of this. I want to hang out with this person because of that. I like hanging out with Angie because Angie just dope. I don't need her to give me nothing. I like hanging out with Lonnie because Lonnie just dope and she just gonna give me some fight. I don't need nothing. I don't want nothing. I'm not trying to get anything, but I love supporting these queens, and the fact that they support you genuinely is absolutely fire. Angie, thank you for everything you pour into this 6-week series, everything you pour into lives every day. But you also did not tell them about the podcast. Can you please tell them how to follow the podcast?
Yes, and real quick, I have a podcast called You Talk Too Much, because as a kid, I was clowned and told that I talk too much. So I just said, let me just use that, spin it, and, you know, let's get it real. Let's get it popping. So you can visit my podcast, You Talk Too Much, on Spotify, Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and I come on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on my Facebook page, which is an extension of my You Talk Too Much podcast. And you can find me every Tuesday and Thursday. Every week is a theme. Monday Matters, Real Talk Tuesday, Wednesdays Wealth Tips, What's the Tea Thursdays, and Freestyle Fridays, Q and message. Not Q and answer. It's Q, question, and message. Because every time you get a question, I got a message for you, baby.
Yes.
So, you know, it is what it is. So definitely,
it is what it is.
Check a sister out. You know, I'm always on every single day. It don't stop. This is not a hustle for me. This is not a side gig for me. This is life, all day, every day. Okay, this is me. You know what I'm saying?
She is what she is. She is who she is. She said what she says, and that is our sister queen, Angela C. Green, Angela C. Green Ministries. So, Angela, we love you. We send you out. I know y'all gonna have a dope session. I mean, I know they're gonna get all the jewels. So, I love you, sis.
Love you, Lonnie.
Right back.
Thank you so much.
Yourself.
Love you too.
Late, and we're gonna clean it up. And Lonnie and I gonna close it out for tonight. But we love you and
thank you so much. Hold it down, ladies.
We got you.
Bye-bye.
So sis. So Lonnie, Queen is us. So now we were just hearing so much about Angie. And I really want the audience to hear more about what you have going on. I know you have a couple of books. You have a book. You're an author. You also have ways that you are helping become more and more flexible. and they're doing their aerobics. Because I was doing a stretch and I was like, do I still have it? I think I'm good. So tell us more about the Dynasty Institute and your book and what you have going on and how they follow you, Lonnie. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, Lonnie. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. I don't know why you muted. That is unacceptable. You were just muted. I want to make sure they hear. There we go. That.
There we go.
Yes.
We go. Okay.
Okay.
So I have two businesses. My first business is Beauty After Broken. So that's actually the name of my book. It's found on Amazon, Beauty After Broken, The Girl in the Mirror. Yeah. And it talks about my childhood trauma, things that I went through as a child. I'm also a motivational speaker. I love that.
Get those jewels. That's every week. That's just
every day. Yes, I love to inspire and motivate. That's what I naturally do. Even coming out the womb, I did it.
Yes.
And then I have another business that's called the Dynasty Institute. I teach acrobatics and contortion to kids. Most of them are dancers or adults who want to gain more flexibility. I can be found at thedynastyinstitute.com. I'm on Instagram at Dynasty Institute. And you're going to see all of my beautiful videos of my kids on there. I always say my daughters because I have a lot of them. And I help to motivate them too. Like a part of my program is called the Queendom, the Acro Queendom, yes, because I'm raising young queens. Yes. So it's just not about teaching them dance. It's teaching them life. It's teaching them how to adjust their crown. Mm-hmm. All of these great things that I didn't necessarily have growing up, and I want to be able to be a vessel to these young ladies. So that's pretty much my two businesses.
I see. I love it. I love it. And so talking about your book, so just talking about your book and the trauma and overcoming and depression and things like that, in relation to Crown Check 1212, what is one thing that you had to do to check yourself to adjust your own crown?
Is to realize that I was in my own way of a lot of opportunities because I didn't know I needed healing.
Okay.
It took one day me sitting down watching Ayala Fix My Life.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's me. You know, you don't realize how you show up. So I always tell people, what you don't heal, it deals.
Come on.
Always going to deal.
Yes.
It's going to show up everywhere. So what you don't unlayer, it follows you. And it took me to see that how I lost my job, my interaction with friends, my interaction with relationships, that was all because of the unhealed trauma. And then I had to get myself in order, start going to therapy, which most people are scared of, but I tell you, embrace it. I love it.
You and me both.
I love it. You know, life coaching, that was, you know, I hired a life coach who was like a breakthrough life coach, and I learned so many tools. I didn't have tools. So I used to go to therapy, but I wouldn't use the tools. So I always tell people too, if you decide to go to therapy and you embrace that opportunity, please, anybody that came on here, in order for it to work, you have to work.
Come on.
It doesn't work if you just come sit on the couch. You have to embrace the tools that they give you, and it's constant use of the tools. It's not, oh, I'm going to meditate just this week and I'm good, I'm healed, because it said by his stripes I'm healed.
I am healed.
That's it. No. Faith without works is dead.
Come on.
You have to consistently do the work. You got to know your triggers. It's a lot that go into healing. Yeah. So it's not peaches and cream.
Okay.
But I'm not going to lie to you. It's no joke, because you really are going to unlayer a lot of the things that you've been sweeping under the rug.
That's good. That's good. And when you speak about the healing process and it still hurts, take a for instance, anybody has ever fallen and scraped your knee real bad as a child. And you know, and I always say the initial sting of the hurts is sometimes gone faster than the actual healing process. So I may fall and hit my knee, boom, that hurt immediately. Now the fall is over, but I'm still hurting from the fall. And so even while I'm healing, so I think about them real bad. I'm talking about the real bad falls. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the one where you literally, you might still have the mark. If you got, look at your leg right now. Tell me if you still got a mark.
Oh, I got a few of those.
If you got one of them, I'm talking about one of those where you was down to the white meat when Medea be like, I'm gonna bust you to the white meat. You hit the white meat. And you kept thinking about it, and you cleaned it with peroxide, right? Oh, you cleaned it, you didn't want to use the alcohol because that would burn. But the sting from the fall burned. If you use the alcohol, that's going to burn, but the alcohol is going to burn because it's got to clean, but it still hurts. If you use the peroxide, it lessens the sting, but if it's infected, it's going to still hurt a little bit. So now you got additional stings, and so you have to heal. In that healing process, even as the scar is healing, somebody could hit it, a trigger, and it'll hurt again. You could try to move the Band-Aid too fast, and it'll hurt again. And if you keep reopening it, it never heals. But the only way the scar really heals first is that you got to let the air come out, and you got to expose it after you clean it. So when we're talking about crown check 1212, I want you to first, release and take the mask off so you can identify whether it was the rape, whether it was the molestation, whether it was the abandonment, whether it was the rejection. What was it that had you in a place of depression, or what has you feeling as though you're trapped? I want you to first identify that and realize that it's okay to identify that and to talk about it in a safe space. And you may find a therapist, and you may not like them later, because I've gone through that. Okay, you may grow. You have to take the time to find who you need, and God will send them to you, or whoever you pray to. I believe in Jesus Christ, and that's the reason I sit here and I live today, because without medication, without therapy, when everybody else cut me off, when everybody else rejected me, when they told me I was nothing, God said, I know everything you did, good, bad, indifference. And I'm talking about the stuff that y'all wouldn't talk to me. Y'all be like, oh, hell no. God said, yes, you. God said, yes, you.
Yes,
he said, yes, you. Where everybody else would condemn you and cut you off, like Andrew was talking about the cutoff every year. God says, I'll never cut you off because you are my child and I love you. I am married to the backslider. And you just didn't have all the tools that Lonnie, you was talking about. We don't have these tools. So we're expecting individuals to be successful in life and to go build businesses and have families, and they don't have the basic foundation or the tools to maintain those things. That's why suicides happen, whether you black, white, young, old, female, male, child, adult, mother, father, sister, uncle, homeless, in a limousine, in the White House, anywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't know any name. It does not discriminate whatsoever. It can touch anybody, because depression touches everybody. Hurt touches everybody. Pain touches everybody. Shame touches everybody. And so you have different situations and different scenarios where people say, you got to do this to be able to get this off of you. I'm telling you, there's a man named Jesus Christ that don't want you to do nothing other than believe in him, and he'll take it off of you.
That's it.
He'll take the weights off of you. And that's the only reason that I was able to make it. But when we really think about the healing process, and that's what the difference between healing spiritually and Empowerment Essence, we are a faith-based organization, healing spiritually and then healing scientifically, they forget to deal with the spirit, because we are a spirit, we have a soul and live in this physical body. So they keep giving you all these temporary scenarios and tools, but there's a man that can heal you where you don't never gotta hurt again. There's a man that can heal you where that thing don't hurt you no more, and you can really go on and be free. So, in a part of my message for Crown Check, and I'm gonna let Lonnie close out with whichever she has a message from God to leave you with. My message to all our queens tonight for Crown Check is, when you're checking your crown or checking your queen's crown next to you, make sure you're checking it from a place of love and sincerity, empathy, and understanding. Remember that what is nothing to you is greater to somebody else. Remember the judgment that you didn't care for yourself. Nobody else wants it. And remember that we all need somebody. So opposed to picking the crown that you saw fall off her head, opposed to you trying to snatch the crown by destroying her and constantly demeaning her or not being a support and a help, I ask that you love yourself and identify what's going on with you, because once you identify what's going on with you and you heal, like Lonnie was saying, then you're going
Yeah.
to be able to genuinely help somebody else heal, and you're going to be able to genuinely be able to love and receive genuine love. It's not your fault. All is well, and I believe in you. You rise. Crown check,
Yeah.
1 2 1 2.
Yes, 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 my sister. Yes. So thank you all for attending tonight. This was amazing. I love the whole, crown check 1 2 1 2.
Let's
It
go.
just it's so catchy. It make you and Shanetta, it really make me just go around and say, okay, before I even judge, let me check.
Let's go.
1 2. Like, it's so catchy. So girl, I know. Oh my gosh, you are amazing. Angie is amazing. I'm so proud of you guys for this platform. You guys are doing amazing. I did check in a few of the other ones, and they went amazing. It went amazing. So I thank each and every person that attended this session tonight. Don't allow it to fall on deaf ears.
Come on.
Listen, take the advice, go back and watch the replay. It may not be for you today, but it may be for you tomorrow.
Come on.
And I actually heard you guys say, not me today, you tomorrow, on one of the, I said,
let's go. Yes.
And it's serious. It could be, you today, me tomorrow. Yeah. So you guys, thank you again. It's a blessing to be able to have people like you and Angie to check in with our mental health, because again, years ago,
this wasn't available. We couldn't do it.
We couldn't do it. So we had a lot of hurting people. That's and good. we still have more work to do. Yes. But I think this is the start. And again, thank you for allowing me to be a participant on your platform. I gratefully appreciate it.
Oh, we love you. Thank you for the gems and the nuggets that you give each and every time you open your mouth. Thank you for being an example, because I think there's so many times that we keep telling people what to do, and I'm just like, man, model that for me. Show me what to do.
Yes,
show me what to walk, model that for me. Walk that out for me, because I think that a lot of times what's going to happen right now is that as we're stepping into our purposes, God is going to allow us to now go back and minister to those that had no clue about it. I talk to seniors. They say, I'm glad you're speaking about it, because when I was your age, we couldn't talk about mental health.
No.
I think about the number of mothers that have lost children that have caused them to go into depression. I think about the mothers that every time their child steps outside the door, come on, and whether it's a male or a male or a female, if our child steps out the door, what's going to happen when they interact with the police?
Yeah.
What's going to happen when they go out into our own Black communities where we got Black on Black crime? What's going to happen when we go out here and continue to see each other hurting and not help? Because sometimes we can help. We can help just by praying for somebody. That's a help.
That's it.
That's a help. And even if you can't pray, that's fine. Just say peace be with you. Just nod your head, a sign of acceptance. Do something to show them they accept it. I have this behind me tonight. I'm gonna move over just a little bit so you can see it a little bit more. And this is something that was started by the Speak Foundation. And what it is a number of individuals that have died by suicide. And we're going to start making some of the quilts again. And so we're going to be looking for volunteers to come and help us. If you have a loved one that has died by suicide, we would like to honor your loved one, because a person, they may be gone, but they're never forgotten. And the things that we can do to remember our loved ones and to honor them are to make things in their remembrance. So these are individuals that have passed away by suicide in the state of Maryland. And I thank Lisa Herker Covington. She is on our board of directors, our senior board of directors. And I thank her for everything that she's done for the state. I thank Maryland, just the state in general, because they continue to have the Governor's Commission for Suicide Prevention. I'm a former commissioner, and it's important for us to identify. And I think sometimes when we see the faces and we connect with the names, it makes things more realistic, because it never is important until it knocks on your front door. I know my family didn't find out about my suicide attempt until I was in my mid-30s. And it happened when I was in my mid-20s. At the time, my suicide attempt was after coming out of a homosexual relationship that I had been in for a very long time. And I felt that life was over. I attached myself to my partner and them to me. And because I felt like I had nothing else, that was my lifeline. And when that came to an end, I could not cope. I did not have skills. I did not have tools. But then again, also, I didn't want none either. I wanted my drugs. I wanted to dance. I wanted to party. I wanted to do everything else. I didn't think about it. Crown check 1212, sis. I know you just going because you don't want to deal with it. Baby, I'm asking you, don't hit the wall. I'm asking you to pause, ask for help, baby. 1-800-273-TALK. You don't have to be suicidal to call this number. A shadow to me is a monster to you, and a monster to me is a shadow to you. I'm asking you to ask for help. I'm asking you to reach out to myself, reach out to Lonnie, reach out to anybody that you feel comfortable with. But I want you to know you're not alone. You're not alone. Crown check 1212. I want you to come back and join us next week, next Friday. We went over a little bit tonight, but I guess what? I say one life saved is one life given. And that is the motto for Empowerment Essence. If we can reach one person, if we can inspire one person to live and not die by suicide, we've accomplished everything that God has given us to accomplish. I know Lonnie has touched lives and she'll continue to touch lives. I need you to follow her. I need you to tune in and get those business tips, because y'all don't be acting like that with Sue and Juan and all them. But when y'all come up over here, y'all want a discount. You ain't getting one. Pay full price. Thank you. And add tax. Thank you. Okay?
Thank you.
Is that okay, Lonnie? They can add tax? Yeah. Okay. They can. My son said y'all can add tax. So we will see you all next week, because we're going to be right back here at 7 o'clock for the Why, our final week 6. And we couldn't close. We had to close it out with this. My clean slate. Let me reintroduce myself. I know that there are so many women that are saying, I can't get up. If they knew what I did, if they knew what I didn't do, if they knew what I said, they know what I didn't say, they would reject me. I'm telling you, baby, let them reject you. See, they're going to reject the way you do, good, bad, but I'm going to tell you, he'll never let you go. Jesus. So I want you to come back next week, because we're going to talk about how we overcame the trauma, how we move forward in life, and the steps that you can take in your own personal space, especially during COVID, to have a successful and productive and a mentally stable life. You can have your emotions are stable, your life can be stable, your everything can be stable, because God believes that God is going to perfect everything that concerns you. I bind the spirit of suicide, I bind the spirit of depression, and I leave you queens with peace, love, and freedom and strength. One life saved is one life given. I'm Shanetta Malkia, and we'll see you next week. Lonnie, Queen. One more time, how they follow you and how they find you, and I thank you, Queen. Bless you.
Yeah, so beautythebroken.com or thedynastyinstitute.com.
Awesome. Make sure you follow Lonnie, get with us, and we will see you all next week. Thank you for tuning in. Lonnie, I love you. Thank you, everyone, and have an amazing night. Stay safe, please. Wear your mask when you go out. I appreciate you. One love.